Hare Krishna, kids. I'll be recording this week's session. We'll be continuing the Brahma Samhita prayers that we did from last week. We'll just hear the recitation of Brahma Samhita, a song sung by Lord Brahma. And we saw Brahma Vimohana Leela, how Brahma was surprised by Krishna. Krishna's super mystic power of killing demons. When Lord Brahma himself forgot that he himself actually called Krishna to come and save the earth, right? So we'll continue that today. Thank you for joining me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshamitan. Damyena tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamam Vande Paramananda Madhavam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shriuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sajana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sajana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुत देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमा प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गो ब्राह्मण्याय हिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्यत देशतारिणे. So we'll continue. So those who have not attended last week, so please check out the recording. We have detailedly discussed our first Mahajana, Lord Brahma, how he came into existence, who created him. Krishna was the one, Krishna's original creator of this universe. So we'll go to this Brahma Samhita. I think we recited five slokas. Yeah, we finished this. So I'll read the translation. I worship Govinda, the primeval lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes, lotus-like petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. I believe we read this as well. We read this as well. So, yeah, the next one here. So, eternal manifest. Yeah. Okay, we'll start. Um, yeah, we finished this as well, I believe. So here, Lord Brahma is saying, I worship Govinda, the premier Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years. So he's saying that Krishna is not approachable that easily. Great yogis and different type of philosophers and speculators, they try to reach Krishna, but they cannot. They try millions of years, but um, it's very hard to attain Krishna. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universe exists in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and at the same time. Such is the premier Lord whom I adore. So here Brahma is saying that, as you saw in the first picture where Lord Mahavishnu is sleeping, where Krishna is expansion, Mahavishnu sleeping, and millions of universes are coming out. And even though so many universes are coming and he's expanding himself to be in each and every universe, yet he's complete. It's not that like, okay, I expanded myself, I'm half. Like, no, Krishna has unlimited of expansions, and his first expansion is Balram, and his Balram's expansion is Sankarshan, like Anantasesha. So they're complete in fullness, and yet Krishna still he is the 100% supreme. He's complete. He's Purnam. Yeah. I adore the same Govinda, the premier Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. So he's saying that um, so many great men praise the Supreme Lord with through mantra suktas. All the devatas, they praise the Lord. So here Brahma is actually, he is telling the truth. It's not imaginary world. There is a world beyond this material world where the Supreme Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that his dham, his world, his spiritual world. Of course, Krishna is the creator of the material world and spiritual world, but our eternal home as spirits, our souls, is back home in spiritual world, because we are not made of this matter. We are spirit souls, so we don't belong here. Specifically saying where Krishna abode is. I worship Govinda, the primordial Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities in the company of her confidence, Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. So we are, Krishna is a supreme person, and all his Radharani is his internal potency, and he's saying Krishna is always with his Radha, and all his devotees, purest Nitya Siddhas, Nitya eternal servants, they're serving him in different rasas. Some have Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, parental relationship with Krishna, and friendly relationship, and some have like lover. So there are different different rasas, different mellows, and that is supreme. That is our supreme relation with Krishna. That is real. I worship Govinda, the primordial Lord, who is Chamasundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of the heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion, tinged with the salve of love. So they just have love. His devotees, Krishna's devotees, are pure. They're ointed. The eyes are ointed with pure love. I worship Govinda, the primordial Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the form of Rama, Narsingha, Vamana, etc., are his subjective portions. So he's saying that Krishna is Swayam, he's Bhagavan, he's is the original, and other uh, expansions of him, Vishnu Tattvas, they come as avatars, are his subjective portions of his incarnations. I worship Govinda, the primordial Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless, and truth. He's saying that he's the effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman, because Krishna says that around him this bright or like bright effulgence of light that is Brahman, right? So many yogis want to merge into that light. They don't know that Krishna actually has a form, God has a form, so they want to merge into that light. But it's not possible. I mean, it is possible. Krishna is merciful that he gives that mukti, but it's but beyond that, like just imagine you're in a room of just full of light, just locked in it. How long can you be there, right? So we as souls, we're always active, we're always looking for love and looking for joy. We are full of we are we are entities of love. We always want to cherish that loving relationship, and our real position and our real relationship is with Krishna. And in the spiritual world, in Goloka, that is the highest happiness we relish when we actually engage the service of Radha and Krishna. I worship Govinda, the primordial Lord, who is the absolute substantive principle, being the ultimate entity in the form of the support of all existence, whose external potency embodies the threefold mundane qualities, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and diffuses the Vedic knowledge regarding the mundane world. I worship Govinda, the primordial Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his own pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. So he's saying that Krishna's glory is everyone in this universe are so captivated by the pastimes of Krishna. So when we think of Krishna's pastime, Krishna and his pastimes and his name is non-different. So we're always, all the pure souls, always Vaishnavas, they always think of Krishna and his pastimes. So he's always in their minds. So here, Brahma is telling where are these planets located? Where are we located? Beyond the material world, what is there? Where is Goloka? He's clearly explaining here. Lowest of all is located Devi Dhama, where we are here, like Bhud Loka, all the planets, Devi Dhama, like Krishna's Durga Maya, who is working under Krishna, takes care of this earthly planets and the material world. Next above it is Mahesh Dama. Lord Shiva takes care of that. Above Mahesh Dama is placed Haridama. Haridama is spiritual world. No one, once you go there, you will not come back to this material world. It's your permanent place. And above them all is located Krishna's own real name, Goloka. Go means cows. Krishna loves cows. That's why he's called Govinda. Um, Govinda. Who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. The external potency Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga. The creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world, I adore the premier Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose all will Durga conducts herself. So here it clearly saying that Maya, Durga Maya is working under Krishna. Everything works under Krishna. All the devatas, everyone are working under Krishna's direction. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the actions of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, which is milk. So I adore the premier Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. So here, Krishna, Lord Brahma is comparing milk and yogurt. So curd is made of milk, right? Agree? But can curd be milk? No, right? Can you drink curd? Will it be the same taste as milk? But they're the same products, right? It's come from the same product. Similarly, like milk is milk, and like curd has its different taste and different texture, but it's a milk product. But it's you cannot say you cannot put milk in you cannot put yogurt, you cannot consider yogurt as milk, right? So he's saying that Krishna expands himself as Lord Shiva, and like Shiva is considered as curd, and like his main duty is to the performance of the work of destruction. When the pralaya comes, when this material, he's the father of this material world. Like Durga Maya is the mother of the material world, and he ensures that, like Lord Shiva in Bhagavatam, it says Vaishnava Yata Shambho. He is one of the greatest Vaishnavas, and he sincerely prays that all the conditioned souls go back to Vaikuntha, go back to Krishna at the end of their life. When any soul dies in Kasi, Lord Shiva personally comes and chants Lord Ram's name in their ears. So always Lord Shiva, whenever he comes as Hanuman, he comes as Adi Shankaracharya, he comes to elevate the souls, go back to Krishna, go back. He definitely prays for all of us. He's the greatest Vaishnava. The light of one candle being communicated to other candles, although it burns separately in them, is the same in its quality. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who exhibits himself equally in the same mobile manner in his various manifestations. So here he's saying Krishna is the original candle, he's the original Vishnu, but still he is himself. He's completely himself. He exhibits himself equally in all his expansions, in all his Vishnu Tattvas. I adore the premier Lord Govinda, who, assuming his own great subjective form, who bears the name of Sesha, replete with the all-accommodating potency, and reposing in the causal ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of his hair, enjoys creative sleep. So he's describing Mahavishnu. So saying Krishna, he expands himself as Sesha, like Ananta Sesha. Now coral of big Ananta Sesha, and he's sleeping on it, and he's breathing, and he's like from his pores of his hair, unlimited universes are expanding, the material universes. We saw in the first picture in the causal ocean. So he's describing that. So Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of hair of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of one exhalation of the latter. I adore the primeval Lord, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is a portion of the portion. So he's saying that the the Brahma and other lords of the other devatas of the mundane world, they only alive only until he inhales and exhales. When he exhales and when he inhales again, the entire universe get destroyed again until and they all die. Um, they all go into the souls never die. The bodies they no longer exist. So the souls will be just there in when universes are inhaled. So he's saying that, so how insignificant we are. So even devatas and Lord Brahma, who is the creator of this universe, has to leave his body one day, so we're so insignificant. So we should never think that we own this thing. We should never have pride, we should never have ego, because Krishna is the supreme controller. Nothing can happen without his sanction. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separated subjective portion Brahma receives his power for the regulation of the mundane world, just as the sun manifests some portion of his own light in all the effulgent gems that bear the names of Surya Kanta, etc. So he's saying that Brahma gets his power for the regulation of the mundane world. To create, to who gives that power to create? Krishna gives that ability for Brahma to create. Because souls, we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are never created or destroyed. Krishna says soul is never created or destroyed. So because we wanted to enjoy this world away from Krishna, he created this. So Krishna created this material world, and he gave the work, allocated all the tasks for all the devatas, all the agents to operate the world. But the maintainer is Krishna, and he expands as Lord Vishnu to maintain the universe. Oh, let's see. I adore the primeval Lord, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesha upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head, in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all the obstacles on the path of progress of the three worlds. So this is my favorite verse, because during Ganesh Chaturthi I always read this verse, because Lord Ganesha, he was the one who wrote Mahabharata, and he always takes his blessings from Krishna. He and he gets the power of removing all the obstacles in the path of bhakti, actually. We should always pray to Ganesha because he's the greatest Vaishnava. We should always pray to him to remove the obstacles in the path of bhakti, and we should always serve Krishna. In that mood, we have to pray to all the devatas because they all get the power, ultimately they obtain from Krishna. The three worlds are composed of the nine elements: fire, earth, either ether, water, air, direction, time, soul, and mind. I adore the primordial Lord Govinda, from whom they originate, in whom they exist, and into whom they enter at the time of the universal catalysm. So he's saying that all these elements, the nine elements, they exist in Govinda, and he's the one who created it. And at the end as well, they enter into him. So he's saying here the sun is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primordial Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey mounting the wheel of time. So only because of the mercy of the Lord, the sun is rising, and he's getting the effulgence from the effulgence of Krishna's body. So we can understand Krishna, how much effulgence is around him, and the light emanating from Krishna's body is the sun, getting his beautiful effulgence around him. I adore the primordial Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all the jivas, from Brahma to the meanest insect. So he's saying Krishna Govinda is the maintainer of everything, from Brahma to the meanest insect. He's Paramatma in our hearts. I adore the primordial Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion, and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of the fruits of one's activities, of all those who walk in the path of work in accordance with the chain of their previously performed works, no less in the case of the tiny insect that bears the name of Indragopa, that in that of Indra, king of the devas. Yeah, he's saying that he burns up to the roots of all fruitive activities. Only Krishna can do that. Hari means the one who helps us to remove the bondage of our karmas, who helps us to literally helps us to come out of this birth cycle of birth and death. No one else can help you from that. I adore the premier Lord Govinda, the meditators of whom, by meditating upon him under the sway of wrath, amorous passion, natural friendly, love, fear, parental affection, delusion, reverence, and willing service, attain to bodily forms of befitting the nature of their contemplation. So Krishna is Bhavagrahi. The way you worship him, he is going to respond to you. If someone wants to become powerful, they want to attain some siddhi, some powers by doing, he is going to grant you whatever you choose, he is going to give you. But the purest devotees, they don't want anything but want to serve him with love. And they want to establish that mellow, that rasa, that loving relationship with him. So beautiful. He explains here, I worship that transcendental seat known as Svetadvipa, where as loving concerts, the Lakshmis in their unalloyed spiritual essence practice the amorous service of the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is the purpose gem, all water is nectar, every word is a song, every gait is a dance, the flute is the favorite attendant, effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and the supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty. This is where it says every word is a song, every step is a dance. Everything is so joyful and happy and blissful in spiritual world because everything is around Krishna. Krishna is reservoir of all pleasure. If we live without Krishna, it's like living dead. Like there's no use. But when we connect our life with Krishna, it is all happiness. Every day is a festival for us. Where numberless milk cows always emit transcendental oceans of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, who is ever present and without past or future, and hence is not subject to the quality of passing away, even for the space of half a moment. The realm is known as Goloka. Only to a very few self-realized souls know are in this world. So very few people know, very few people self-realized, people who know uh, 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 they are able to know about Krishna's world. Hari Bol. So here we end uh, Brahma Samhita, and next week we'll look into another Mahajana. Okay. Till then, take care. Have a wonderful week. Hope you're all having wonderful Ekadasi, Pandava Ekadasi. Hare Krishna. Take care.